Michael, before the break, you were talking about your nightmare.
The other night I had this nightmare that I was running in my Air Zoom Spiridons and everyone was looking at me, or trying to. I even heard this little girl say, "Mommy, why is that man all blurry?" I felt like screaming. Why can't people see the real me? You know, the guy who walks to the mailbox. The guy who chews his food slowly so it digests well. Can I stop now?
Of course you can. You're gonna make it, kiddo. Don't you doubt it for 1 minute.
This one is for the OGs. Back in the mid-90s, Nike released a brand new technology called Zoom Air. And one of the first sneakers to utilize that technology was the Air Zoom Spiridon, which pretty much instantly became a cult classic. And now Nike is retroing that shoe for just the second time in its original form. In this video, I will be reviewing the Nike Zoom Air Spiridon in the Sport Red colorway. Very quickly, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I am bringing the sneaker content every single week. Give me a follow on my Instagram as well, posting content on there daily, and it's the best place to keep up with me. And if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, make sure you check out my podcast as well. All of these links can be found in the description. So let's start the video. Now, did you even know that this sneaker was actually named after a real person? It was named after Spiridon Lewis. He was the first man to ever win the Olympic gold medal for marathon running, and he won it all the way back in 1896. And this wasn't even the first ever Nike shoe with this name. In fact, in the mid 80s, we had the Nike Spiridon, which featured a gold swoosh on it. It was also used during the Olympics, but that model didn't last too long. In 1997, that is when the Air Zoom Spiridon first released, and it was a pretty legendary sneaker designer who worked on the shoe. It was Christian Tresser, the same man who created the Air Max 97s. And what was really notable about the shoe at the time was just how lightweight this shoe was. It is an all mesh sneaker with no leather at all, and at the time it was really the first of its kind from Nike. So it was actually a pretty big deal for the running community, even though nowadays you don't really find runners wearing these. So the official release date for the shoe, I did get an early pair, but the official release date will be December the 20th. And in the US, they will be retailing for $160. And in Europe, I believe these will be $150. It does seem like Nike is putting a bit of emphasis on the Spiridon this year, because not only are we getting this OG colorway, there have been some collabs that have been announced, even a collab with Fragment, two pretty clean colorways there. And also we got a teaser of this upcoming collab with Undefeated. Getting into the shoes, they did come in a Nike Lab box. I actually didn't even realize this was a Nike Lab release, but you get the standard black Nike Lab box. And the shoes, yeah, they look great. A very classic retro look to them. So it's a pretty perfect time actually for Nike to bring these back right now. Retro runners right now are definitely having a moment. And yeah, I have to say, it really does feel super lightweight in hand. This is the OG Sport Red colorway. And I've seen some of the comments online, people talking about this shoe saying that this was the only colorway they wanted. They just wanted the OGs, all the other upcoming colorways and collabs. They weren't that interested in them. Just this OG was the one that people had their eyes on. And yeah, these are very, very clean. Most of the upper is done in this silver metallic mesh. And getting to the swoosh, well, the swoosh is pretty special on these pairs. It is a very big, bold swoosh that you see on the Spiridons, a lot bigger than most other classic Nike models. And it does have this iridescent finish to it. And it also has this black outline, which is embroidered, which really makes the red pop even more. The mudguard on this pair extends all around the shoe from front to back. It's done in black, contrasts perfectly with the rest of the shoe with the silver and the red. What the OG sneakerheads seem to really love about this shoe is this little red mini swoosh that you see on the mudguard, which is also embroidered. I believe it was one of the first Nike sneakers at the time to feature this mini swoosh, so it was a big deal. You get this white midsole on the sneaker, which has what looks like some kind of wave pattern on it. Of course, this shoe being designed by Christian Tresser, the same guy who made the 97s. He seems to clearly like wave patterns on his sneakers. And the midsole on this white section, it does seem to have some kind of glossy finish to it, and and from what I read, this is very true to the OG pairs. And at the bottom of the shoe, you have a black rubber outsole giving you some nice grip. I mean, I think it's a great looking model. I think it's pretty slept on. I like that it's quite low profile as well. Nike's archive is just so deep. I mean, in the last few months, we've had some really nice retros like the Sunders, like the Shox Ride 2, and now these. I mean, Nike retros have been on a pretty nice run lately. Getting into the sizing, now this being the first time that I've ever really worn a pair of Spiridons, I got them in my true size. I put them on feet, instantly regretted it because in the toe area, it is very tight. It's very narrow. It doesn't actually look that narrow when I see the shoe, but having them on feet, the toe area is very squeezed in. It kind of feels like if you wore a pair of Yeezy 350s or 700s and got them in your true size instead of a size up. You know exactly what feeling I'm talking about. Your toes are just kind of getting squished in. But the rest of the shoe is actually okay. Like in the midfoot region, it's fine. In the heel, it's fine. It's not too tight. The toes are a problem though. I will definitely be trying to get these a half size up. Whether you have narrow or wide feet, I do believe that you need to go a half size up in these. A half size up from your true size, that is. And just to give you some reference, in most Nike sneakers like Nike Dunks and Air Max 1s, or even the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 3s and the 4s, I always go with my true size. But these, I will definitely suggest you to go a half size up. These shoes do feature that Zoom Air technology, which I have to say on feet feel very comfortable. I really think one of the main reasons why retro runners have gotten so popular these days is not just because of the looks. I think it's mainly because of comfort. Like, people really value comfort these days even more than how the sneakers look. And these, even though it's a shoe from the 90s, it is a pretty comfortable sneaker. It's a pretty soft midsole here. Overall, great pair. Shout out to Nike for bringing these back. I know a lot of OG sneaker collectors were waiting for this to happen. The last time we saw a retro of this shoe was in 2016. And I remember back in 2016, there were some other colorways that dropped too. There was the Stash Spiridon colorway, which honestly, in my opinion, that is an even nicer looking shoe. Those colors look sick. The Stash colorway looked really good on that model. But do let me know in the comments how many of you guys are going to be going after this sneaker, and what are your thoughts on some of the upcoming collab models as well. And I'm not sure if we will be seeing some GR colorways of this shoe, but either way, are you planning to get a pair of Air Spiridons? As I said, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you found the video useful, and give me a follow over on IG. And thank you so much for stopping by and supporting my content. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.